Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of our Career Goals Club. Today, we are talking about the world of work post-COVID. We're still going through it. In my opinion, COVID is going nowhere. So let's have a real conversation and dissect what the job market is going to look like or what our careers are going to look like going through COVID and post-COVID. Now, I'm just going to introduce myself a little bit to give some of the Career Goals Club people time to jump on. We haven't had one of these sessions for the last 2 weeks. So we have a double banger this week where I will be hosting the session today. And we have another session on Friday with Carolee Dixon from Jamaica on developing your personal brand. That session is going to be amazing. It's Sunday at 6 p.m. And we're going to post the poster on our Instagram page at Career Goals Club, and we're going to post it on our IG page, and the link will be posted in the actual Career Goals Club. So everybody joining me on a Friday night, thank you so much. I feel so special now that we are finally getting to go back outside. We're going to try to keep up the participation in these webinars. So thank you and welcome. So like I said, my name is Jamila Hollingsworth, and I am the owner of the HR Boss. I'm the owner of the HR Boss. And let me tell you a little bit about me. So I have been doing HR for the past 9 years in the Caribbean. I've worked in Jamaica, Barbados, St. Lucia, and presently now I serve as the HR manager at Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., where I get to serve employees in several different territories as far as Germany, London, US, Canada, and Barbados. So that's been pretty amazing. In my real life, I am the owner and CEO of the HR Boss, which is a pretty cool boutique HR firm located in Barbados. And we serve corporate clients locally, and we serve individual clients all over the world. And what we do is we help to provide HR services for corporate clients who cannot afford an in-house HR person. And that's pretty dope. And we help individuals to level up in their career. So we do resume writing, interview coaching. All of that is what we specialize in. So interview coaching, resume writing, personal branding sessions. That's what we're known for, and that's really what we're experts in. So this session is really me trying to walk through together what the world of work will look like during COVID, post-COVID, and us sharing and engaging together our ideas going forward. So feel free to drop your comments in the comment section. I can't see them. I can't see all your comments. So if you drop your comments and your questions, I will be happy to answer them. So let's get right into the presentation today. Okay. So what is going on, and how did this happen overnight? How is it that overnight, as it seems, COVID has come and just kind of like mash up Barbados, if you're tuning in from Barbados, and if you're tuning in from other parts of the Caribbean or the world, how is it that overnight COVID-19 kind of like just came in and just technically destroyed the world? Now, here's a fun fact. November last year, when this started in Wuhan, China, I was actually based in China for work. There's a cute photo there with my team at BTMI. So we were actually in China for work, and COVID-19 hit and we were oblivious. So we were actually staying on an island off China called Haikou, and that's off the mainland. So we had no idea what was going on until we traveled back to the mainland and we re-entered the Dupont airport, which is in Shanghai. So when we got to Shanghai, we noticed that they had implemented some measures which weren't there when we first entered China. So when we first came to China, we came in through Shanghai. We flew from Shanghai to our station in Haikou. And now when we went back to mainland, just for a short trip, we realized that they were doing temperature testing. If you had a high temperature, you weren't allowed to travel. You were kind of detained in this room and asked a lot of questions, like where you've traveled to and where you've been. We had no idea, absolutely no idea what we were getting into. So we came back to Barbados just before Christmas Eve, I want to say, like the 17th of December or so. So we came back to Barbados right before Christmas, and everything was normal in Caribbean. We came in, the protocols were normal, everybody was acting like normal people, and when we thought everything was cool. We weren't really freaking out about coronavirus. We thought we were fine. There was no quarantine period for us. So we kind of just jumped right back into work. We jumped right back into the Christmas festivities, shopping, merriment, enjoying fellowship with our families, our friends that we hadn't seen in a while. Internet in China is not the greatest, so I'm sure a lot of people would have binge watched shows that we missed, caught up with a lot of people that we didn't have contact with during the time. So that's what we were doing. We should have seen this coming. China basically shut down from December until February, March because of COVID-19. So we saw a whole city, which is Wuhan, with over 3 million people go into lockdown and quarantine. And we saw how it disabled the economies of scale in that particular province. Wuhan of itself is more people than Barbados, is more people than the whole Eastern Caribbean. I think the largest Eastern Caribbean island is Trinidad and Tobago. Well, twin islands, Trinidad and Tobago. So after seeing that devastation and seeing the capacity that China has, for the life of me, I can't imagine why in the Caribbean we didn't take COVID a lot more seriously. When did we start to wake up? We started to wake up in March, February, when the first cases started to move into Europe. We started to see large numbers of COVID-19 in Italy. We started to see large numbers in London, and then the epicenter of New York came about. So when it started to hit to us is when our family members or people that we know that migrated, started to die, started to COVID. That's when we really woke up in March and say, oh my God, it's coming to the Caribbean. Now, the second last week of March, I remember we had our first COVID case. And I remember clearly because my boyfriend, his birthday is March 19th. And I was planning this big surprise birthday party, and COVID hit like Tuesday. And everybody was messaging like, is this thing still on? Is this thing still on? And that's when it really hit us that COVID is here. What happened is a lot of employers did not have a plan for COVID. A lot of employers did not have a plan. Now, these are employers who have or had archaic structures. So archaic structures, if you ask the employer to let you work from home, it will always be a problem. It would be, you want to work from home. We have a culture in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean of kind of micromanaging, of a helicopter. It's kind of like a helicopter management style where if you're not at work and I can't physically see you doing the work, I can't physically see you being busy and going to lunch and talking and interacting in the office, I believe that I can't measure the amount of work you do. I believe that you can't be as productive if you are at work or not. And COVID-19 literally forced employers into having to allow employees to work from home. This culture that was frowned upon before now has become the thing to do. So before, remote working is nothing new. Remote working is nothing new. We just have a negative stigma towards remote working in the Caribbean. And for the life of me, I do not understand. So now what are companies doing? Companies had to rush and put systems in place. They had to buy equipment. So there was use of technology. Now everybody's a Zoom queen. Everybody knows how to use Zoom better than the next person. Me, I am a tech pro now. I know how to do StreamYard. I know how to do Zoom. I know how to do Google Slides. And I am a boss when it comes to technology now because I have to find more efficient ways of delivering our product to our clients at HR Boss, as well as to do my job as an HR manager at my current job. I have to find a way to be relevant and to keep employees engaged. So employers who were once opposed to having employees work now are catching their backsides in the literal, that's the most Caribbean term I can use. You're catching your backside because you don't have the systems of monitoring in place, you don't have the technology, you do not have adequate performance measures or KPIs, which are key performance indicators for measuring staff who are working from home. Now, the first persons to take the hit when we went into COVID-19 were marketers and HR people. So they got rid of marketing people, got rid of HR people because we were seen as a luxury to have, But HR people and the marketing people are the head ones that you have to keep because one, you want to make sure your project is your product or your service is visible, your company is visible, your brand is out there during this significant time. And two, you want to make sure that your employees, when they come back out to the workforce, are well trained, they're mentally prepared so that when you open your doors, you hit the ground running. So I think the idea or the stigma around us, remote working, it is going to change. It has changed now during COVID, and it will change as we begin to re-enter the world of work on a full-time basis. Now, if you're in Barbados, Prime Minister Mia Motley would have said last night that we're re-entering the workplace in full from Monday, which means every man jack who still has a job will be back to work next week. Now, what does that mean for you? Will employers go back to the whole old-fashioned, you have to come into work 5 days a week? Or will HR managers and company owners now say to themselves, okay, well, we have an employee here who was functioning above and beyond? Because let's be honest, we're working from home, but we're working sometimes 9 until 10. People think they could call you anytime of the night. People think they could email you and get a response at any time of the night. People think that you can produce even more because you don't have the stress of, having to travel and stress of the extra headache of looking for lunch and going out. People think that you should be in front of your laptop 12 hours of the day to their beck and call because they're paying you to work from home. Working from home is more stressful and it's more strenuous than working in the office, because when you work in the office, it is 8 to 4 and hasta la vista, baby. After 4 o'clock, you are out of there. But when you're working at home, people expect that you are on their beck and call. It's basically, they have a view that they're holding you at the mercy of your job. That's how it's being done now. They're holding you at the mercy of your job. So what are some interesting developments that we could look to see coming out of this? We could look to see flexible working. So the HR managers regionally, I'm sure they're excited to challenge management, challenge the board of directors into flexible working arrangements, whether that be, there's some comments. Okay, I can scroll up to see the comments here. Okay. All right. So Daniel is saying the culture is hard for people to adapt to. Nicole is saying building trust with your team. COVID will change the workforce for sure. Micromanaging is their way of life and not measuring deliverables. Absolutely, Melissa. So what we can expect to see going forward in the Caribbean, we can expect to see flexible working, whether it's 4 days in office, 1 day off, whether it be a Friday, or we can expect to see 20 hours in office, 20 hours at home. What will this mean for you as an employee? It will give you greater opportunity for one, professional and personal development. So those of you who may always have wanted to go back to school and do a master's, but couldn't find the time or get the time from your boss man or your manager to go to UE, now you have the flexibility to say, okay, I'm working from home, I'm setting my own hours, I have my key performance indicators, I have my deliverables. Once I meet these deliverables, you shouldn't care if I do that work from my UE, down on the beach, or from the Philippines, because I'm meeting my targets, I'm meeting my deliverables, right? So I definitely say that this will be an opportunity for professional and personal development. Number two, I think working from home will give us time to pursue other business interests that we may always have had. So a lot of people, so a lot of people may have business ideas or may have started business ideas in COVID, whether it be doing delivery, whether it be, planting a little kitchen garden, selling masks here or there, frying making food and having it delivered. I see so many people who were hairdressers and makeup artists and had different businesses not having to pivot because nobody's having their makeup done, nobody's having their hair done as often, nobody's doing their nails as often. So I see people pivoting into baking and, you know, making pizza and chicken and chips and whatever. So I think a good thing coming from COVID-19 will be flexible working that would aid us in professional and personal development. Now, how is that going to be implemented in Caribbean? Now, the Caribbean normally takes cues, I should say, from North America and Europe, but more so the USA. Everything that happens in States eventually trickles down into Barbados. Now, if you've been watching the news or doing a lot of reading, you would have noticed that Twitter, the big tech giant Twitter, has announced that effective immediately, all employees will be allowed to work from home indefinitely. So you have a choice. You can either come into the office or you could work from home indefinitely. Actually, other tech companies in the Silicon Valley have gone to their real estate agents or gone to their realtors and say, hey, we're not renewing this lease next year. We're going to go more virtual working, and we're only going to have front line employees like cashiers and so on have a fixed space. So everybody is going to be at home, and people that have to perform their job like front facing, those are the only people occupying the plant, which is absolutely amazing, right? So if we see big tech companies like Twitter, Facebook, I'm sure Uber is going to come on, right, announcing that this is the way they're going to go. What do you think will happen in the Caribbean? Eventually, we're going to have to adapt, because not having a physical plant is actually a benefit to business owners. So they're going to come on board one way or the other. About 10 years ago, or 10 to 12 years ago, in 2008, we went through one of the worst recessions of our time. Let me go to the other slide. We went through one of the worst recessions of our time. And this recession was pretty drastic because we didn't know what to expect, and we didn't know what it would mean for us and our job. So in 2008, I'm pretty sure you know that town used to be booming. Bridgetown used to be the place to go. If you had a serious business, it was set up in Bridgetown. Now, after 2008 recession, we've seen a move away from Bridgetown into the areas surrounding Bridgetown. So we've seen a massive development of Warrens in the last 10 years. We've seen a massive development of Haggett Hall in the last 10 years. And people are moving into areas such as St. George in Lower Estate. So 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, you could not find a lot of commercial companies operating from the suburbs to say, but now people are moving away from our main city, which is Bridgetown for those of you who are joining from other countries, and they're moving into the suburbs away from the main town. Recession and pandemics shake things up. After 9/11, for those of you who are old enough to know, 9/11 caused the travel industry to change drastically. So before, when we were traveling, we were carefree. We didn't have to take off belt, we didn't have to take off shoes, we didn't have to move through scanners and all that. But after 9/11, it caused for a significant increase in security and travel restrictions and regulations. What does this mean for us? It means out of COVID, everything will change. Technology now, careers in technology are going to become in demand. So if you tell yourself that, man, I ain't too hot with technology, or I am too hot with the computer, I prefer face-to-face meetings, or I prefer face-to-face interviews, you gotta get with the time, because we ain't ever going back. There will be blended application of face-to-face learning, or face-to-face interviews, or face-to-face meetings. But please note that going forward, technology will be used, because companies are not investing so heavily in technology and infrastructure to then go back to the way things were before. Does that make sense? Let me read some comments. All right, so Ingrid is saying she worked remotely as a account manager, yeah, and her KPIs were met all the time. Okay, awesome. So let me know if this is helpful for some of you guys. So I'm going to continue on because we're at 20 minutes already. So in Barbados, we are so heavily reliant on the tourism industry. So heavily reliant on it. And our economy is a one-foot man. So most of the money we make, I would venture to say in most Caribbean islands, Antigua, St. Lucia, most of the money we make is from tourism. So the closure of our ports has significantly impacted us over the last 3 months. I don't think people understood how important tourism was until the ports closed for 3 months. Until you realize that closing two single entities, the airport and seaport, could dismantle the livelihoods of over 50,000 people and counting. Closing two major ports could dismantle an entire economy that may take about 1.5 years to recover, as stated by the Chamber of Commerce in this morning's press conference. 3 months closing two entities could cause the Barbadian economy to rebound in 1.5 years. That is crazy. So you might be saying, oh, I work in IT or I work at a bank. That doesn't affect me. Here's what. It affects everybody. It affects everybody and it affects the entire job market. Those tourists come in and they interact with the airport workers, first off. Secondly, they interact with red caps. Red caps are paid by, the tips and so on that the tourists and locals would patronize them. Now, if the minute traveling, they don't need for red caps. Two, when the airport open, for those of you who have traveled overseas, you ever travel to the US or England or anywhere and you ever see a red cap? Red caps are something specifically indigenous to the Caribbean. I don't even think all Caribbean islands have red caps. I've never been to Trinidad and seen a red cap. I've never been to, I won't be so bold as to say Jamaica and seen a red cap. If you have, just comment in the comments. Red caps are these guys that meet you in the hall, the arrival hall, and they take your bags off the carousel and they push it to your car. And you give them a little tip and it goes on. Tell me in the comments if you guys have ever seen a red cap. I'm waiting for some comments, guys. Have you ever seen a red cap in your travels anywhere around the world? Do you think that those jobs will still be in existence a year from now? So Nicole is saying she never saw any in Jamaica. Anywhere else in the world? Nope. Anywhere else in the world? Have you ever seen a red cap? Okay, so what's gonna happen is so a whole bunch of comments. So Brandy is saying yes, Jamaica has. Shanae is saying never. Danielle is saying never. Beijing for real is saying never. Never. What's gonna happen is the Barbadian government or whoever runs the airport or the red cap industry, they're gonna say, wait, hold on. I could get one of them carts that exist in Miami and let people pay $2 and take off their own luggage and put it on there and push it themselves. There's no need. That's a whole subset of jobs that's cut out. People come on the airport, they're thirsty, or they want a little snow cone, or they want a little drink or beverage, right? If there's no air travel or there's no sea passengers, that's the whole snow cone people affected by this. Taxi service now they're in shambles because of COVID. After that, sorry again, a series of messages. After that, there is people in accommodation. Tourists have to find somewhere to stay. Airbnbs, villas, hotels. All of those workers are affected. People like to eat when they go to travel. I travel solely to eat. Restaurants, Champers isn't reopening until summer. Like, the restaurants are affected by this. People that do roadside cooking, creative foods, yalla meat, all of these people are affected by this. So you can't say tourism isn't my business, so it doesn't affect my industry, because guess what? If these people aren't working, then they can't pay the loans at the bank, right? So it's all of our business to know what is happening on the macroeconomic level, to then dissect and understand how does it fit into me at the microeconomic level, right? So you have to understand where the economy is going, what is the direction of the government, what is the direction of the world economy, and how will it affect me in my specific profession or me in my specific career. So you can't just look and see what's happening in Barbados, because everything that happens in Barbados is a trickle-down effect from what happens in the world market. I'm going to just bring back up the slide here. Okay, so what does it mean for your jobs? So looking at your job now, you should be analyzing, what was I laid off? That's the first question. Was I laid off during COVID-19? Number two, was the business that I work for, the business that I work for, did it close or was it required to be closed during COVID-19? That's another important question. Is it an essential business that I currently work for? If it is an essential business that you currently work for, you want to, you're pretty much go. So if you're in health services, if you are in the supermarket business, if you are in delivery of goods, or if you're in food, you're gold. But you have to find out, was I laid off during this session? Ask yourself that question. Did the business that I work for, did it close during this period? Number three, how will my business change, or how will my employer change the organizational structure after COVID-19? Now, employers are real sensible people, right? If they realize that they can operate profitably over 12 weeks with half of the staff, you really think that after we go back out into full work on Monday, they having board meetings about how they can operate profitably with 50% of staff, whether it's in office or outside of office? Organizations are going to want to look at organizational structures and see what roles are essential to the revenue earning of the company. So I said earlier, for me, in our business, we experience a cut just with the marketeers. For small businesses, they cut all the extra contractors like marketing and HR, which was a huge mistake. Those are the really essential services that you want to keep on. But bigger entities, they're going to look to see what their organizational structure is and how they can trim that model to be as efficient as possible. Now, let me give us some more tea, right? Using COVID-19 as an excuse to relook organizational structures and to relook trimming of staff is, I am seeing a trend in the Caribbean that people are going to use to get around trade unions. So before, where companies were making profits and sending home staff, and we've seen it with the telecommunications companies in the Caribbean specifically, where companies are making profits, but in an effort to be more competitive with their other telecommunications providers, they cut staff because the wage bill is normally the biggest. They cut staff in order to remain more competitive. Companies can ride on COVID, even if they had an inkling or a thought before to send home workers to be more profitable. They're going to use the guise, unfortunately, of COVID to relook organizational structures. So as an employee, you have some considerations to make. You have some, use this time at home, well, what little time we have, because we've just heard in Barbados that we're going back out. I'm not sure about the other Caribbean islands. I know in Jamaica, Prime Minister Holness, they've started taking flights for locals returning home, and they're slowly going back into a phased re-entry into work. So the Caribbean and Antigua as well. So the Caribbean islands is different, but you really have to look and see how your employers are moving, how are they communicating with you in this time, and how much information are they giving you? Are they giving you just enough information to keep you quiet or keep you afloat? Or is your re-entry into work something, what health protocols are in place? Is it just the temperature checking, or is it going to be extension of cubicles? Is it that they're providing you with masks? Is it that they're creating a safe environment for you to work? all of those things you have to be cognizant and cautious of. So what does this COVID-19 pandemic bring for us? For sure, we saw lots of temporary layoffs, but there will be permanent layoffs coming out of this because the truth companies will not be able to rebound. Some companies are closing permanently. We saw burritos who's housed in prominent wines not returning. Before COVID-19, we saw the closure of Chaps restaurants, which is Hugo's, Primo, and Chin Chin. And for me, that was huge because those are one of the three most prominent restaurants in Barbados. So if they're closing, you can imagine how other small eateries are doing as a result. Government cuts possibly, but we've seen the introduction of the BOSS program, which is offering government workers a percentage of their salary in bonds in order to use that money and redirect it into government spending. We saw our government really create a BOSS master stroke in the BOSS program, which is a great alternative to actually cutting jobs. I rather a portion of my income than no income. So that was a great strategy by the government at trying to maintain private civil service jobs while trying to redirect some of the funds into government expenditure. For savings, we spoke about that earlier, and the last number is increasing debt. Increase in debt is something we can't get away from, whether personally or as a country. But what I would advise you to do, I'm not the expert, is to analyze what are you spending on right now. What are you spending on? What is absolutely necessary? Because like I said, nobody is completely secure in their job right now. Everybody is looking to see, okay, am I going to be cut? Is my company doing well? Like, pay close attention to performance and see how the company is doing. Keep in the loop instead of spending your time focusing on nonsense on TV. Keep in the loop what's happening in Barbados and what's happening internationally in terms of your career. Now, here we go. So what can we expect moving forward? Moving forward, we can expect more remote working, as I said before. Now, before, and our counterparts in the US would have experienced remote working long before us. So we would have seen this whole rise of a laptop lifestyle where people are working in Bali for 2 months at these co-working villages where they just have their laptop and they have their internet and they're going swimming and they're doing all these tours on traveling across Asia and just living their best lives. That flexibility wasn't afforded to us in the Caribbean. In UK, we've seen Virgin Atlantic, the home of compensation and benefits, I would like to call them, introduce a not only flexible working policy, but unlimited vacation. Can I get a yes for unlimited vacation? So companies like Virgin Atlantic and American Express have unlimited vacation. Now, what does that do for employees? Does any work get done? Is there actually productivity if I have unlimited vacation? Now, here's it. If you have an unlimited access of something, studies have shown that their employees don't abuse the privilege. Their employees are actually more productive because it's not like counting down a vacation. They can take a vacation at any time. So we've actually seen studies in these companies that offer unlimited vacation. People do not take sick leave because there's unlimited vacation. And 2, people are less stressed. They could take a mental health day whenever they like. And 3, you kind of just come to work and work on what you're passionate about. It drives innovation because I could spend countless hours at work. There is a wet bar, there is a snack bar, there are areas where I could collaborate with people and not only grow in my job and professionally, I could grow on a personal level. Will that be implemented in Caribbean? I don't know, but I sure hope so. I think Virgin Atlantic and American Express have kind of blazed the trail in the US for it. I've seen Google do something, but Google's salaries are on the lower end of things, but their benefits package, their overall benefits are amazing. So you can expect over the next decade, and I hope that COVID will push this along faster, that our compensation packages in the region will change slightly. It might be you value vacation more than you value a big base pay, or you may value vacation more than you value health insurance or pension. It in the US, in some countries, they allow you to make up, pick your compensation package. So there's pension, medical, life, travel, telephone allowance, and you kind of pick your percentage, like what is most important to you. Whereas in Barbados, they offer you a fixed package, and you kind of just take it, or you negotiate what you want, right? I am excited to see, I'm not a compensation expert, but I'm excited to see how our compensation packages change in the Caribbean. For me, I value vacation. I value my time to travel. I value flexibility. I value time with my family, right? And I would not mind being able to work from home exclusively, or if that's not possible, having more vacation than I do, than as a percentage of my compensation than I would have as a contribution going towards my pension. So it depends on what you value most. We all value different things as employees. So I believe that the compensation packages should be made up based on what the person values the most. What does that do for employees? It increases, absolutely right, Nicole. It increases innovation and it increases productivity. If I feel that my company is going to bat for me, I am going to give that company everything that I have in me. Chances are in these companies, especially at Google actually allows you a couple hours to work on a personal project at work. And what they found is that actually it works counterproductive, because people are so interested in the projects that they're working on at work. They don't actually want to work on personal projects because they have the flexibility, they have the leeway. It's not helicopter management. So they find that people stay at work longer. They give their all to the company, and there's no interest really in doing outside projects because they're compensated well, they're treated fairly, and they have projects that they're passionate about. Okay, so we're going to move to this next slide. So how can I prepare? Oop. There we go. So how can I prepare? What can I do to prepare? Is there a way that I can possibly prepare in this pandemic? Look at your job security. Like I said before, are you an essential service? Are you a rock star employee? Is it that when you are on vacation, everybody calls you to find out where is this particular file? Where can I find this folder? How do you fix the printer? Is it that when you're on vacation for 2-3 weeks, that when you come back in the Monday, everybody's like, oh gosh, thank God you're back, because nobody can figure out how to do this or how to do that. Making yourself a rock star employee makes you indispensable. And what do I mean by being indispensable? Being indispensable means that nobody can take your place. You could walk out of that company next day, and whether they want to admit it or not, the hire that comes behind you, regardless of how much you pay them, they will never be you, because you've always given 100%. You've always done your job diligently, and you've always put your heart and soul into making sure that you did an amazing job. So whether or not people like you, at the end of the day, all people will be able to say about you is, she did an amazing job. Our experience didn't meet, but the worst I can say about her is that she did an amazing job. Her work was always of top quality. So would you consider yourself to be a rockstar company, a rockstar employee? If your job or your employer was doing cuts, would you consider, or would they consider you as one of the last people to be cut? Or would they consider you as one of the first persons to be cut? So know that I'm sure a lot of organizational restructuring is going on. Are you going to be on the top of the list for cuts? And the top of the list for cuts are normally people with a poor work ethic, or people that demonstrate what I call self-sabotaging behaviors. So self-sabotaging behaviors are people that, one, get to work late, two, have a don't care attitude. So they do just enough to get paid. Just enough to be seen, just enough to get paid. Number 3, people that hide behind other people's work. People that steal other people's ideas or hide behind other people's work and or pass off other people's work as their work. Because guess what? When that person is no longer there, you're going to be showing up. Number 4, people that take no initiative. People that wait hand and foot on an employer or supervisor or manager to tell them what to do. They don't take initiative into coming up with ideas or doing it on their own. And a lot of people say, well, I ain't doing my supervisor work or I ain't doing my manager work. But guess what, right? When you are a line level employee, what you're doing, you're trying to foster skills. You're trying to build up and foster skills at the line level base for when you do become a supervisor or when you do become a manager. So let's say you got the opportunity to become a line manager. Do you think that good habits are going to be developed overnight? If you were always late, you will be late as a manager. If you have always shirked your work, you will shirk work as a manager. And if you have never showed up as a line level staff, you will never show up as a manager. And if you try to show up during your probationary period, people will see it. It is inconsistent with what you have been doing as a line level staff, and people would generally think that you're a fraud. So consistency and diligence is what beats the game every time. So during COVID-19, this is not a time to like slack your right in and say, oh, I'm home, I can watch TV and I can watch Netflix or whatever. This is the time to beef up on your professional skills. This is the time to beef up on your personal skills. So when you go back into those people's office, you are a rock star. So regardless of whatever board meeting or board conversation there is, your name will never be at the top of the list, because the amount of value that you bring to your employer, the amount of value that you bring to the team, they can't do without you. You're indispensable, basically. So what else can you do in this time to get prepared or to get ahead during the pandemic? Use this time to be a competitive candidate, like we were speaking earlier. Get your resume redone. We have an amazing resume package available now. Our girls are our resume team. They're doing resumes. Amazing package. Let me see if I have it here. Yes. So they have an amazing package. What can you do with your resume during this time? You can look at key factors. The layout is always important. There are several publications in Barbados, but we go to the ones that are most catchy. Layout is important. When we're reading magazines, we buy for the cover. The cover page is the big thing, right? So we want to make sure the layout is catchy to the reader, which is the hiring manager or the HR manager or whoever owns the business. Number 2, content is key. So we want to make sure we have the content that people want to see. What is the content that people want to see? People want to see your experience, whether it be your work experience, whether it be your volunteer experience, I don't know, your participations in clubs and societies. That is what we want to see. We also want to see your education. Your education and your qualifications is very important to us, right? So all of these things that we're asking you to list, you should list them in chronological order, which means the newest at the top, the oldest at the bottom. So if you have attained a master's degree in 2019 and you have a bachelor's degree you've attained in 2002, you list the master's first and you come down. Now, there's some questions. I'm going to get to your questions, guys. All right. So Tricia Wilson Motley, oh, wonderful last name. So she's asking, add a certification or 2, upskill, absolutely. So add your certifications. If you are an accountant or if you have done accounts at UE, go and do your ACCA, go and do research to be a CFA, like go and amp up your qualifications. Nothing wrong with amping up your qualifications. It makes you more competitive as a candidate. All right, so Mary Lou is saying, agree with you, Nicole. Always have a plan B. Absolutely. Okay. So we want to see your experience. We want to see your skills. And we want it documented in a way that is succinct. So we don't like resumes that are forever long. So like 6 pages, 8 pages, absolutely not. We get a lot of resumes, and we need to see your information presented in a succinct way, and in a way that we could digest and see how you are a suitable candidate, so we can call you for a phone interview or a face-to-face interview. Well, right now we're doing online interviews. So like I mentioned before, if you just want your resume reviewed, we review that for you for $10 US. But if you want your resume fully revamped, which is the CV and the cover letter, we are providing that for you. And if you want to speak with one of our career coaches as a part of the package, that will be $35 US, right? But if you just want your resume documents done, that's just $25 US. So it's very reasonable. And remember, guys, if you have had your resume done before, a resume is not a static document. So if you got it done a year ago, like, that's old. I'm sure that you have certifications and skills that add since coronavirus. So you need to go back, update. Everybody should be coming out of COVID with a new updated resume. So what else can we do to be a rock star employee? Let's put up a slide here. Okay, updating your LinkedIn is so important. Now, I speak to a lot of job hunters, a lot of professional people on a weekly basis. And when I tell you, right, that a lot of them do not have a LinkedIn. And if they do have a LinkedIn, it doesn't have a professional picture. It has a selfie up. There is no mention of their skills. Their work experience is not updated properly. It's not a good reflection of who they are as a professional person or as a... Your LinkedIn is like your online... It is pretty much like your online CV. Some recruiters who are lazy, like for me, I could admit for sure, if I have a list of people that I'm interviewing, I automatically go to LinkedIn, because it's just like it's a fast way of getting a glimpse of the person's qualifications and the person's experience. Now, if I go over to LinkedIn and I see that the person doesn't have a picture, number one, I don't know what you look like. Number two, if you don't have your experience updated, or if you have it updated and you have job title, customer service representative, and you don't have any duties listed or any summary of what you actually do, I have no idea of what that means. There are some customer service representatives that take cash. There are some customer service representatives that actually process loans in banks. There are customer service representatives that do a number of things, do receptionist like duties. There are customer service representatives that do a number of things that are not related to customer service. So you need to specify in the duties tab on LinkedIn what your actual role is, and what just a brief summary to give us an idea of what your actual role entails. There are some roles that I know for sure that are listed as marketing assistant or marketing officer. But really, the duties that you're doing is marketing manager work, whether it be preparing reports or doing board presentations. Those are the duties of a marketing manager. So if you are applying to be a marketing manager and you're a marketing officer and you're trying to convey why we should hire you or why we should give you an opportunity to interview, you're going to need to state specifically what duties have you done to enable you to be able to perform this role. I hope I'm making sense to you guys. Okay. All right, awesome. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so we spoke a lot about LinkedIn, and the next thing you want to do during this pandemic is to make sure you create and improve your personal brand. Ooh. Now, I can't stress enough how important having a personal brand is. Having a personal brand is as important as... I can't even explain how important it is. When people, especially in Caribbean, everything is based on reputation and everything is based on who you know or where you went to school or who you're connected to. So your name being attached in a positive way based on the work that you do means everything. Your name being attached negatively to your reputation could be detrimental for years. There are candidates that I know personally that have been denied opportunities for jobs or for interviews based on their school thing that they have done in their professional working life, but what people remember them to be at secondary school. So people will hold on to the fragments of your character or your reputation that they want to remember, which is pertinent for you to make sure that you build a strong personal brand. Now, if you have a tarnished personal brand, can you recover? Absolutely. You can make it a part of your story. You can make it a part of who you are as a person. You could tell the story how you want it to be told. Because the truth is, the story will be told anyway. So a part of personal branding and creating your own brand is you telling the story how you want it to be told to other people, right? There are some people who, okay, so there are some people who are desirous of creating a strong personal brand. So what consists of a strong personal brand? So I would recommend during COVID these tips. Get your professional headshots done. Absolutely. They are amazing photographers that do amazing work in Barbados for an inexpensive price. So you want to get your headshots done. Why do you need professional headshots? One, for your LinkedIn page. And two, if you're a professional and you want to establish yourself as an expert, people are going to ask you for your professional headshot, either for your job or for like speaking engagements and so on, where people may want you to speak on a panel. So you need a professional headshot. Number two, work on your portfolio. If you are a graphic artist or you're in some kind of creative field, you may be asked for your portfolio. You should have a body of your work that you present to us. If you're a marketeer, campaigns that you've worked on. If you are an interior decorator, a wedding planner, you want to have a body of your work that your future clients or your future employer can see, to clearly see that you can back your talk. Backing your talk is very important because everybody comes to an interview and they talk a very good game, but backing your talk is very important. Number three, change up your wardrobe, change up your style. A lot of us have gained a lot of weight in quarantine because all we're doing is baking bread and eating it, right? But I would encourage you as we go back out to change up your style. If you were uncomfortable or unhappy with your standard of dress, maybe you had declined, maybe that you used to work heels all the time, but that's declining to just ballet flats. No, brush off the heels. Even if you say, okay, I'm going to wear heels 3 days a week, or I'm going to make sure I wear my makeup every Monday or every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, make sure you start to reintroduce different elements of your style that you want to see going forward. Okay, Mary was saying she wants a professional photographer. I use Shaquille and he does a pretty good job on my shots. I would leave his information in the career goals for you guys so you can get a special rate. Okay, so Tracy is saying, she's saying something about her hair. Okay, I don't know. Y'all having your own conversation in the comments box. Okay, so change up your wardrobe, change up your personal style, and get creative. I've seen in the Caribbean, we tend to judge people based on how they look. Even before people open their mouth, we already have an assessment of who they are, where they work, how much money they make, and if they could possibly help us based on how people look. It is sad, but is the construct in which we live in, is the construct in which we were raised. I'm not saying it's right, but you have to be aware and cognizant of the construct in which you live in. So for me, appearance is everything. So while I may look like a homeless person at home, working from home now, I know when I go back into the office, I have to put out to wear my makeup every day, to put together my outfits, to wear heels, because sometimes the difference between you getting an opportunity, a job opportunity, or you getting a promotion could be based on how people perceive you. It's all about perception. It's not your, sometimes it's not even your ability to do the job better than the other person, but the person looks the part. Like sometimes looking the part is half the battle. Sadly, in the Caribbean, I find we are very heavily fixated on appearance and on looks, to be honest, on appearance. And is it right? No, but we have to be cognizant of what image we're putting out as professionals. So if we want it to be taken seriously, there's a saying that says, dress how you want to be addressed. So if you want to be taken seriously as a professional, or if you want people to perceive you a certain way, or you don't want to be locked out of opportunities, my suggestion for you is to dress how you want to be addressed. So for me, I want to be a boss. I want promotions. I want job opportunities. I want business for my company. So I dress the part. Do I like wearing heels? Absolutely not. Is makeup my thing? Absolutely not. But I know in order to get into rooms that I have to do my end. I have to hold up my end of the bargain. In order for people to hear the value that I have to offer, they have to first welcome me with their eyes. Some people get so distracted based on how you look, the message is lost. The message is lost because they're busy analyzing and dissecting how you look. So I would say dress for success. Next slide. And lastly, well, two more things. You want to clean up your social media. So if you're on social media, I know there is a whole campaign right now on Black Lives Matter, and most of you are sharing and giving your opinion, which is amazing because that conversation needs to be advanced. But some of you aren't so constructive and aren't so sharing the right things. So you want to make sure you clean up your social media. You also want to make sure that you improve your interview skills. Use this time to improve on your interview skills. Now, interviewing as we know it has changed and it will change. Now we do competency-based interviewing. Competency-based interviewing is where everybody's answering the same questions on a specific rating scale, and the person with the highest score is basically selected for the job. Now, throw that into the other types of recruitment. There is, along with competency-based testing, there is psychometric testing, where you put somebody on a computer or send them a test, and you get a bunch of results. Based on their answering questions over and over in a different way. So we phrase the questions in different ways, and we see if your answers are consistent or not, and we kind of formulate this psychometric profile on who you are as a person. There are other people that also do technical testing as part of interviews. So sometimes recruitment could consist of all of these things. At the management level, there's also a fancy thing called assessment centers, where it's almost like a 1 day of assessments based on board meetings, presentations, interviews, psychometric assessments, which is geared to choosing the best C-suite manager at the end of it all, right? I've been through one, and it was extremely stressful, right? So why do we put people through these stressful, uncomfortable interview positions? Why do we have like tons of people on the panel? Why do we make candidates feel uncomfortable? Now, traditional training has taught us that candidates would tell us what we need to hear. So before, when we did interviews, we would just ask people questions based on their resume. Hi, how are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Why do you think you're the best person for your job? And people sell you snow cone. But we found when we started to do technical testing, which is actually putting the people to sell snow cone, we've actually realized that they aren't what they say they are, or they can't do what they say they can do. So a lot of companies right now, even in Barbados, do technical testing, which is called competency-based testing. Now, if I were you, because I'm an HR person, I would advise you to research competency-based testing and to improve your interview skills, because that's the way forward. A lot of people are not doing interviews in person right now due to COVID-19. We are doing telephone and online interviews. And I foresee going forward, it will be a blended approach, which is face-to-face interviews as well as online interviews. Now, here's the kick. So if I can change my screen. The gag is, for the first time ever, we are going to be offering a 3-hour workshop. We've never done this before. We've had Ace Any interview in person for 2 hours, but this course is an online course. It's actually rescheduled to June 28th, which is the last Sunday in June, and we're going through everything from dress code to interview etiquette. We're going through actual resume. So everybody that signs up for this course, we're going to go through everybody's resume individually, and you're going to have a one-on-one session with me. So you'll get the full course, which is with everybody in class, and you'll get a free one-on-one session with me with interview sheets. So if you're applying for a specific job or you want to practice interviewing for a specific job, you're actually going to get a free one-on-one session with me. You are a part of this course. This course is only US dollars. So if you're $50, and before we would have $40 for Ace Any interview, and that does not include a one-on-one session with me. So this is actually a steal of a deal. It is a steal of a deal. So we are only taking limited people for this class because it is truly a special masterclass. So if you haven't signed up already, you might want to get ahead of the curve and sign up for our Ace Any interview masterclass. All right, so moving on. So if COVID has taught you nothing, COVID should have taught you that one stream of income is no income. Okay, so let me read some comments. I've been really rude tonight. So Melissa is saying competency-based interviews are tough. If you aren't prepared, they can really throw you off. Absolutely. Tracy is saying, I did a technical test a few months ago. It was not too bad. It's not bad, but it depends on the type of test that could throw you off, because you could start answering the questions based on what you think we want you to, how you want us to answer. You can answer the questions based on what you think we want to hear, and that can skew your results. So Tanya is asking, are some people nervous? What are your thoughts? So many people that look really good on paper, really good on LinkedIn, they come to the interview and they're a ball of nerves. And they're candidates that are prepared. They're candidates that may have been coached, candidates that generally are good at speaking, and they will get the opportunity over a candidate who can technically do the job because they present well on camera. No, on the actual interview day. So I would advise that you prepare as much as possible to be the most successful in a competency-based interview. All right. So so Kendra has already signed up. Kendra's looking forward to the session. So hopefully many of you, our session is going to be fantastic. It's 3 hours. We're going to have a little break in between so you can get some snacks. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to the one-on-one sessions after. Okay, so if COVID hasn't taught you anything, it should have taught you that you need to start a business. Like, one income is no income. You either need to start a business or get an additional stream of income through another job. There's so many people that I know that lost their jobs and were unable, frankly, to provide for their families because, and it was devastating for me to have clients not being able to provide for them, for their families, and I couldn't help them. So what does that mean? It means look critically at the market. We're wrapping up now. Look critically at the market. See what the market is asking for. If the market is asking for food, you can't lose some food. Caribbean people like to eat. Bajan people like to eat. We like to eat. We don't have money, but I remember the days before Shafat opened. There was a celebration. Everybody was reposting wingdings. Everybody was reposting tenders because we like to eat. We're food connoisseurs. So if you're good with your hands and you've attained some really good skills in the kitchen during COVID-19, this might be a good opportunity to launch your food company. There are several delivery companies out there that are willing to deliver the goods for you. Number 2, grooming services. We like to look good. Caribbean people like to look good. So hairdressers right now are making bank. Barbers right now are making bank. Nail techs, well, not mine, but nail techs out there are making bank. Lash techs still getting business. Surprisingly to me, people aren't missing on lash appointments, right? So grooming services in the Caribbean will always be successful because as a Caribbean people, we like to look good. Okay, so Tricia is saying COVID basically wiped out 2 of her 3 streams of income. So for what the experts say, money is that you should have 6 or 7 streams of income. Me, I only had 2 streams of income, right? So I need to like amp up my game because one of my streams of income, which is HR Boss, it was significantly impacted by COVID-19. Number 3, make juices. People all are very big on building their immune system, building their health, blending juices and not the sugar juices. Creating like blended raw juice is something that's really big and I think could take off in Barbados because we have the ingredients are available locally. You don't have to import them. So that's another great idea. Number 4, a small corner shop. Corner shops were not affected in any way during COVID-19. In any way. Village shops were actually given preference. So you don't have to have a physical location, but if you have a corner shop at your house and you could open an online store. I saw We Fetch and oh gosh, Price World and what's Nikita's business? Oh gosh, I'm so bad for this. There are several companies that created online stores and they kind of just deliver the goods to you. So you go online, you order your goods, and these people package them up from their warehouse and ships it out to you. And number 6, delivery companies. Everybody wants everything delivered to them. No, I do not think we will ever go back to being a country where we have to go and get food. It took COVID for Chafet to do delivery. It took COVID for a lot of companies to start ordering delivery services. I don't think that we will ever go back to a time where we cannot get something delivered anywhere that we live. I live in St. John, and people wouldn't want to deliver to the country. I had Burger King deliver. There were companies delivering pizza to as far as St. John. There's a company, Rapid Services, delivering KFC to St. John. So as businesses use it as an excuse based on location and proximity, I think opening a delivery service right now is perfect, right? So look at what products and services people really absolutely need during this time, and you can start your business on that. Okay, wait. All right, so Tony is asking a question. How important is it to start a consultancy business with a web page? Do you think without a web page or only Facebook or IG impacts image? For me personally speaking, when I started my consultancy, I did not have a website. I just had Instagram and Facebook, but I made sure they were professionally laid out. When I did start to go after corporate clients, however, I got a website because corporate clients like to see a website. So it depends on who your target market is, to be honest, that you would need a website. So once you've established who your target market is, then you can better assess that. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Okay, guys. So it's been a really great night with all of you. I want you guys, before you go off this live, please follow us on Instagram at the HR Boss. If you're not following, we are also on Career Goals Club is also on Instagram at Career Goals Club. Make sure you follow us. The details are always posted there first. If you have not signed up for Career Goals Club, these sessions are every other week with experts from all of the industry. They're absolutely free. So make sure you go and sign up for Career Goals Club. Now, here's a picture of the HR Boss team. A lot of people don't normally see it. Let me apologize. We're missing 2 people from this picture, Shakira and Adicia. But we have to get their pictures taken, and You have to get them posted. So this is the team that normally serves you. A lot of people just think it's me in the background working, but there are a lot of amazing people that make this engine run. So I want to say a big thank you to all the people in my team that make it run. I know some of them are on here now trying to make the wheels turn. I want to say thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to see you guys on Sunday. We're going to have Carolee Dixon from Jamaica, and she's going to be talking about personal brand, and she's a brand expert. So for a lot of people who may have heard me talk about personal brand today, Carolee is going to dig in on Sunday. I have to actually go email her after this session. So let me just remind you guys before I leave. Oh. Remember to register for the Career Goals Club. These sessions are going to be exclusive to the Career Goals Club. We're going to have it open to everybody until the end of July, and then it's going to be exclusively for the club. Yeah, one more thing to share before I leave. I'm being run off by my ICT manager. Okay, so the masterclass, we only have 10 spots left. So if you need to sign up, Rhea Stricker, run off the live, email me just to make sure she reserve her spot. So if you are smart, if you're smart like Rhea Stricker, make sure you run off the live and you email me to reserve your spot. We will send you a registration form and we will get you enrolled. But remember, the masterclass this is the most amazing course we've ever offered, to be honest. And you will not only get your resume review for free, you get a free one-on-one interview coaching session with me, as well as the 3-hour session with everybody else. So this is truly the most amazing package we've offered, and it's the last Sunday in June. So I'm looking forward to see you guys at the masterclass and at the session on Sunday. Okay, so thank you guys very much for coming out. I really appreciate this. I'm being asked by my team to show you guys one more thing. Make sure I don't get any licks. And remember our HR Boss resume service that is available. The special is one time only. So make sure you take advantage of that. So that's joining Career Goals Club. And we'll see you on Sunday with Carolee Dixon from Jamaica, talking about developing and building an amazing personal brand. Thank you guys very much. See you on IG.